The number of refugees leaving the U.S. for Canada has swelled dramatically over the past few weeks, and many are blaming fake news as the reason for the rise in asylum seekers. RT's Alex Mihailovich has the story in Montreal.
The supply containers are down, and the tents are up as the Canadian military prepares for more refugees from the U.S.
Starting late evening yesterday, we had 38 people during the night that has moved to the camp as we speak, with the continuing inflow and outflow of those migrants.
In total, over 6,500 asylum seekers have made a claim in Quebec since the beginning of this year, hundreds of who have entered the province illegally in the past few weeks. This camp on the Quebec-New York border will be the first stop for many illegal immigrants who are still on the move. When completed, these tents are going to house about 500 people. That's going to be the total at this site. But considering that hundreds of people are flooding in from the U.S. each and every day over this border, authorities are in a constant search for housing. Shelters for refugees in the Montreal area now number close to 20, the biggest being the iconic Olympic Stadium, which sleeps up to 900 men, women, and children each and every night. Precious, a Nigerian refugee who crossed from the U.S. into Canada with his wife and 7-year-old daughter, is glad to be here. He says he was a journalist in his home country and feared for his life. He hoped the U.S. would be a better place to live, but after only a few short months in the States, he says the constant fear of deportation and a toxic atmosphere was just too much. On the flip side, after just a few short days in Canada, he's ready to make it his new home.
From what that used to be said about the States, that is a place where dreams come true. But for me, the States is a place where dreams are lost for now. At first instance, Canada struck a very different impression on the 7-year-old daughter. My daughter, the way, the civility, the way, the politeness of the Canadian police, struck a very good impression on her. She commended them. She said, Dad, these people are so good. They are not enemies. They are good to us. When I grow, I would like to be like the Canadian police to help people.
Helping people is something Cedric Asimony has become very good at. After a call from the authorities and with the help of a small team at the Olympic Stadium, he had it up and running as a refugee shelter in less than 24 hours.
The vibe is good. People are smiling considering the situation, so there's no tension. We're here to provide a room, not a room, but beds, bed sheets, Wi-Fi, electricity, showers, and food. It's rudimentary. It's not class, it's not high class, it's not luxury, but it's functional.
But believe it or not, that lack of luxury has come as a surprise to many asylum seekers, especially some of those of Haitian origin. Fake news sites, which many blame for the recent surge of illegal refugees into Canada, have reportedly promised Haitians in the U.S. that Canada was automatically accepting them. A supposed WhatsApp hoax even told them that Canada was paying the bill for all their costs. With 90% of recent refugees in Quebec being of Haitian origin, this might explain why many of them chose to enter Canada now. According to Canadian lawyer Claudia Molina, these people have been misled.
It's very unfortunate that they're getting this misinformation, because Haitians that are claiming refugee status are getting exactly the same treatment as any other refugee. So they have to prove before the court that they have a well-founded fear of persecution.
And that's not something that's easy to do. Canada views Haiti as a country that is stable and safe. In fact, Canada routinely rejects asylum claims filed by Haitians. In the first half of 2015, only 38% of asylum claimants from Haiti were accepted. As for Haitians crossing from the U.S., their greatest fear may be totally unfounded.
Donald Trump. But Donald Trump don't want people to stay up there. If you don't have paper, he say nobody don't stay. Where to go? He country back.
The fact is, Trump simply contemplated suspending the temporary protected status for Haitians in the United States, which was implemented in 2010 after a disastrous earthquake in that country. The moratorium is set to expire in January. Nothing has been done about this so far. unlike in Canada, where the moratorium for Haitians was suspended 2 years ago. Canada continues to pride itself on welcoming people from all over the world, but for illegal immigrants, it's not as simple as some would like to think. Canada will continue to treat these people with dignity and respect. Chances are, though, many will be told to go home, and that won't be back to the good old US of A. I'm Alex Mihailovich for RT America in Montreal, Canada.